What did you say? Oh, sure. We can go around back. So it's my honor to welcome Paula Wyman-Kellman. I think a lot of you already know a little bit about her, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Paula Wyman-Kellman is a veteran documentary filmmaker known for moving portraits of inspiring women, among them Rachel Cowan. Her first film, Rites of Passage, was a portrait of a feisty Israeli feminist icon and peace activist, Alice Shalvey. 20 years later, she revisited that subject with the re-annotated Alice. Yeah, a round of applause for those. So I just want to start with a couple of questions, and then we want to hand it over to the audience. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Rachel and when you decided that this was a story you wanted to tell?
Well, I knew Rachel for many years. I met her because my late father-in-law converted her, and she was. I knew her and Paul. I got closer to her after Paul passed away, and I wanted to make a film about her for many years. I filmed her in Cambodia and Thailand with in all sorts of adventures, and we started making the film, and way before she was diagnosed. I never would have had the guts to ask to make a film after she was diagnosed, and when she was diagnosed, she had the grace to let me continue filming her. And she just, to be with her, I just loved being with her, so to make a film was a great excuse to be with her.
Thank you. The title, I think, is so apt because you learn so much about living from following someone who's dying. And so can you tell us about striking the balance of this in this film that's ultimately telling about such an uplifting story of someone's life and their spirit while also capturing illness?
Well, I think you really hit on exactly the problem because in the beginning, I didn't want to talk about her dying, and I just filmed her life. And then the writer, Fernanda Rossi, came in to help me and helped me combine to realize that it was as important to tell the story of the way she handled her death as it was to tell of her fabulous accomplishments. And I also want to thank Judith Helfand for helping come up with the title because it really captures the film.
Love to open it up to questions from the audience. We have volunteers with microphones, and if you don't mind waiting till they get to you so we can all hear. Anyone have a question? Yeah, let's start right over here.
Is there anything that you censored that you left out?
Oh. Well, I didn't exactly censor, but I had 300 hours of material. I had to leave things out, and some things it just broke my heart to leave out. Like Rachel's relationship to Israel was incredibly complex and nuanced, and couldn't mention it. Rachel's relationship with Brotherhood Sister Soul was so important to her, and I couldn't get that in. And not to mention, I mean, I think there are many people in this room who I filmed with Rachel who didn't make it into the film. I did, I suppose, censor the most painful parts of her illness, but I think you still,
Thank you.
lost the sense.
Other questions? It's right over here.
Yeah, I just want to say how beautiful it is to see so many people in this audience who know and loved Rachel so much, and it's so moving to me that you're here. And Joseph.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Joseph.
As you said, you had 300 hours. A lot of it was probably from before Rachel's diagnosis. What would that because there's probably room for another documentary about
Yeah.
it. What would that documentary have
No,
been
but
like?
I am going to do I want the website to be like a pilgrimage site. And what I'm going to do is have their little vignettes of all the things that I couldn't fit in the film. So, yeah.
This way.
This is not a question, it's a comment, a commentary on the way the film flowed and the silences and the, quote, gaps, for a better word, poor word, that really, for me, carried the gentleness of Rachel's spirit. It really, it brought her back very much alive.
Thank you.
And if I could actually take that and maybe turn it into a question, can you talk a little bit about sort of the post-production process when you were putting this all together, and sort of what you learned about yourself as a storyteller in trying to do just that and trying to capture Rachel's spirit through the form of your film?
Well, we really wanted the film to be like a meditation. We wanted it to, the feeling you would come out with. And again, I want to thank my editor who's in Israel, who's not here, and Fernanda, who just said, no, but I can't thank you enough. And oh, these are beautiful. I lost my thought.
We're thinking
Oh,
about
oh, how,
finding the form.
The form. Right. Originally, we were going to do a whole through thing of bird watching because Rachel was so. Then one of the first things to go was her sight, so she couldn't bird watch.
Thank you. We have a question up there.
Oh.
Hi, Paula. Beautiful, beautiful movie. And I feel, and I'm sure many people here feel like we just had a wonderful visit with Rachel, which makes me feel like I miss her all the more. I think, and just listening to people talk about Rachel, and even what you showed us in the movie, we all learned different things and connected differently with Rachel. And I wonder for you, as you went with her from health on this journey into illness and death, was there something that you learned from this process or that she shared that you feel you carry with you?
First of all, to take a deep breath. And she would always, she would meditate in an elevator while she was waiting. She would be mindful when she was in the line in the supermarket. And that, to just take a deep breath. And also, she would always listen to you. She would always listen. So often I find myself in conversations just like stopping for a second and going to a whole nother level and listening. I feel her all the time, very real.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Thank you for the film, first of all, but also with a subject that you were so close to personally and clearly affected in the film, how did that affect your process? How did that inform how you approached the subject?
I have only made films about people who I was friendly with, and the most extraordinary thing to me is when I finish, I'm much closer to them. And I always, I'm a nice filmmaker, so it's just, it's a gift to be able to spend time with people you love and to help the world know what you loved in them. But thank you for the question, because also I don't know you, and it's so nice that somebody who I don't know and who didn't know Rachel. Thank you.
Did that ever feel like there was a part where you said, I'm gonna leave the camera and be a human now? Did it ever feel like to be a filmmaker in those moments was separating you from being a friend?
Well, I think I always put friendship first. I mean, I'm always like putting the camera down. When I made films about families, I was always diapering babies. I mean, it's I'm a very organic filmmaker. Mm.
Any questions? Yes.
I just want to say that Rachel was someone who influenced my life because I was in an interfaith marriage and consulted her book about that. And I'm just wondering, how will the film be available to recommend to other people?
Sign up on the webpage. There's a place to sign up, and I will be distributing this as widely as possible.
Paula, the film is so moving and so beautiful. So first, thank you for that. What I'm wondering over is how much you captured so much humility in her gratitude and persona, and yet she was so incredibly brave. She was on the frontier of these movements, what she did with the Cummings Foundation, the Peace Corps work, the becoming a rabbi as a convert, which no one had done before. So that paradox of her personality, only thinking about it, am I aware of how really strange that is? Remarkable.
Right. Well, she was a humble leader, and she always gave credit to other people. And any personal problem she had, she found a communal solution. And she just was, a team player and just, inspiring.
I think we have time for one more question. We'll go right over here.
Oh, hi. The youngest member of the audience is right there. Not you, next to you.
I was so almost stunned when Rachel said that she was at one point when she was expecting tears and they didn't come because of the chemo. And when I heard about this film, I said to you, they're going to have to hand out Kleenex. And I didn't cry, which is so unusual for me. And I'm wondering if there were things that you expected in yourself from this film that didn't happen.
Well, it's really interesting what you said about crying, because sometimes I sob watching the movie and sometimes I don't. And I think I've watched this movie probably, 4 times a week for the last year, and it's become to me like a kind of davening, like that I just see the same words, the same things, and different things mean different things in each viewing. But before we go, I just want to I have to thank some of the times when I couldn't be here to film, my son-in-law Josh Treadaway filmed, and I'm so moved to have him here. And I want to thank Jillian, who did the trailer, because if any of you have seen the trailer, I think it's the most beautiful trailer I've ever seen.
Well, in wrapping up here, there's a line in the Lecha Dodi prayer, which many Jews say on Friday nights, and there's a translation of it that says, calls upon people to wear the clothes of their splendor. And so I think you've really captured Rachel in her splendor, and we also want to thank you for being in your splendor and being a storyteller and sharing this with us. So thank you all very much.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for being here with us at the Athena Film Festival. We have our closing night film Rocks at 6 p.m. if you want to stick around, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Okay.